Hello everybody, it is Elisa here and welcome to another episode of Journey to ZA. Oh, it is February, you guys, can you believe it? And for those in South Africa, maybe that's not as significant, but in the USA, February marks Black History Month. Absolutely, Black History Month. So that is when we give homage to those who have come before us, have journeyed on, or they're still here, and they're trailblazers amongst the African American community. And it would be remiss of me not to honor that tradition, although I am here in South Africa. And I definitely intend to be sure to use this month to highlight those people who have helped pave the way for me and my family. But what I did want to do in this Black History Month is kick it off with my own homage to Black history, my Black history, if you will. So I was thinking about it. Today's actually the 4th of February. So it took me almost a week to decide exactly how I wanted to approach this month. And I was actually doing some research yesterday, being poured into by other vloggers and articles, blogs, things that I've been reading as I am researching what is now my new home, South Africa. And I just wanted to kind of like have some opinion, if you will, in regards to what was being talked about. And so one of the things that I was finding in these interviews was the idea, or the honeymoon phase, if you will, of African Americans returning home, if you will. And that got me thinking, right? So when you're thinking about Black history and you are having this thought in your mind, which it can be a little bit of a honeymoon phase, right? You have this nostalgia in your mind, especially if you are an African American and you are leaving the United States and you're coming to Africa, whether it be West Africa, you're answering the call to the year of return from Ghana, or you're venturing to other areas of Africa, as with me in South Africa, and you're trying to reconnect with your roots. There can be what's called this honeymoon, or kind of frivolous nostalgia, ignorance, if you will, to the African continent. And I've seen that talked about quite a bit. I haven't talked about it myself, but I thought it was quite important to kind of bring that out, at least in my own words, to the Journey to ZA family, right? So one of the things that was talked about the most was how lots of Americans can sometimes be looked at by Native Africans, whether you're from West Africa, South Africa, what have you, that they come with little to any information or understanding of the countries, or they come with this idea of this overwhelming absorption of the people in those countries. And I could kind of see that on both sides, right? As a African American woman leaving the United States, coming to South Africa, there was a lot that I did not know, right? I tried to do my due diligence. I researched as much as I could. I looked into, the neighborhoods, schools. But if I'm really completely honest, I use the time to look into the economics of the country, things that if we would be able to be sustained, day to day, the schooling, budget, the stuff that you would look at in terms of moving anywhere, right? What I will say is that when I arrived, as when my family arrived, there was lots of things about the culture that we did not understand in terms of, understanding the nuances between the tribes. Of course, there's information for things like apartheid, but with anything, until you live there, you really don't get any information from a first-hand perspective. And so with that, both sides of that weight in terms of arriving in these countries, ignorant to the makeup of the collective, of the people, I think it goes both ways. I think for an African American, or anybody for that matter, that is venturing to a new country that you are going to be living in, working in, connecting in for any long period of time, you should take it as responsibility to begin to enrich yourself, indulge yourself into the things of that country. So whether it is beginning to look at news articles regularly for that place, listening, Access PR, the equivalent that is for that area, the music, understanding pop culture, or whatever it is that you regularly are engulfing yourself in your current place of or your native home. Begin to indulge in those things and those areas of interest within the target country, or in this case, Africa, West or South. That's really, really important. I noticed when we arrived, it's almost like this limbo, right? Where you're here and you're connecting to the country, and you're on this new time frame, and you're learning, you go into the market and everything is like, okay, this is this much rand, how much that is in American money, or it's not this is how much it is in rand. It's like that thought behind you of this is how much it is in rand, how much is it in the US, or time, this what time it is here, what time it is in the US. You keep having this kind of backwards teeter-totter, if you will. And I remember about a month in, around January, having a discussion with myself that it's going to be difficult to do, and though I know I can't completely disconnect as of yet, because I do have responsibilities there. I have property there, I have family there, my mother's there, I'm the only child, right? But my day-to-day has to become more prevalent, right? The way that South Africa was when I was more predominantly in the US. And so even down to things that I'm looking at, if I'm looking at news, yeah, I want to know what's going on in the US and I need to stay abreast of that, but I need to be just as engulfed in South African news and what's happening here, and articles and events. I don't get to do my first summer in South Africa ever again, living here, right? So I need to be aware of what festivals or cultural things that's happening here, so that I can try to at least experience those things with fresh eyes and appreciate them going into my second, third, or fourth year, what I've learned, what I've picked up, what I can share with you all. And so that is important for me, for my Black history. While I am, of course, excited to embark on this journey and to be welcomed and to be accepted, and even here on this channel, it's so amazing how many of you I hear, welcome home, sister. Welcome home. Enjoy the motherland. I've gotten invitations from Pretoria, from Cape Town, from Durban, all over the place, right here in Joburg and Sandton, to come and connect and speak with you, and to learn from you, and by all means I intend to honor each one of those requests, as I am floored that you would even consider me, and I know that I can learn from each and every one of you. But I would say this for those that are maybe not as welcoming, and that is Native Africans, whether it's West, South, what have you, whatever parts of the African nation, to the Black Americans that are making their maiden voyages back to, if you will, the motherland. And it maybe makes you a little bit uncomfortable. Or for even the Black Americans that say, you know, I don't know anything about the African continent. I'm from America. My family is from America for generations. We helped to build this country to what it is. That is quite valid as well. But I think it's important that we don't discredit each other's journeys, where we are. Because as some may choose to stay and fight and continue to draw deeper roots into the United States, it would be, a shame to think that as those that are journeying to go back, to connect with those places, because we don't really know where, right, we're supposed to go. But we're starting somewhere, right? We're starting somewhere. And for those that choose to go to West Africa, because maybe that is who decided to extend the call, and they feel closer because that's one of the main starting points of where our people were removed from the country through this transatlantic slave trade. It does not diminish other areas of the country like South Africa from returning or making that your target point for the maiden voyage back to or connecting with the African continent. They'll be able to share it with others, and it will most certainly enrich and enlighten those who decide to stay in the U.S., but it will definitely build greater connections, and it will hopefully allow each of our own Black history stories to be even stronger and resound further within the fabric of both the U.S. and the African countries for years to come. Thank you for joining. I hope that you begin to get your own information on your own Black history story. Please share with me your stories in the comments. Of course, like, subscribe, share this channel, hit the notification button so you always know when there's new content here on Journey to ZA. And by all means, I appreciate you and thank you for joining. See you later.